My name's Scott. I am a tech recruiter with close to 10 years experience working within the industry. And for those 8 or 9 years, I've been teaching candidates what they can do to get the edge in interviews. Now, I feel like I'm quite well placed to talk about interviews as I've been doing this for such a long period of time. However, things have changed recently. Back in the day, we would schedule interviews with candidates for face-to-face interviews. Now, in this digital age and remote working first culture, things are a little bit different. With this remote working culture, video interviews via Zoom or Teams are the norm, which means we need to plan for things a little bit differently than what we would do if we were going face to face. In this video, I'm going to give you my tactics and strategies on what to do to ace a video interview and hopefully get you that dream job. Okay, first things first, we want to make sure we are doing this video interview on a computer and not our mobile phone. Now, this is quite obvious. I mean, why would you want to do this on your mobile? Because you're going to stand there and you're going to have to hold the thing, or you're going to have to try and lean it up against something and it's going to slide down, or it's going to run out of battery, or your headphones don't work, your AirPods run out of battery, all these different things. At least if we have a laptop or a computer, we can be plugged into the mains and we can have some kind of charger on go, and we don't have to worry about trying to hold the damn thing as well. Now, one thing that people tend to get wrong is making sure that they don't have their camera at eye level. If it's not at eye level, it's going to look all strange, or it's not going to be even, or people are going to be looking down on you, or you're going to be looking down on them, and it's not normal, because face to face, we would probably look at people eye to eye. Kind of like this. Now try and make sure that camera level is at eye angle to try and give you a nice flattering look and not something that's really creepy. Next up, you want to make sure that you don't have any lag or any issues with your Zoom or Teams call. So make sure you've got plenty of bandwidth on your internet and no one is streaming any kind of Netflix, which could potentially harm your internet bandwidth. And if someone in your house is using all the internet bandwidth, that means you could have a lagging video, which isn't great for a video-based interview. That's actually a very good example. Next up, we want to make sure that we don't have any notifications on, so make sure our phone is on silent, we've closed Outlook or any kind of email system on our laptop, and we want to make sure no sounds come up unexpected, no one rings us, and there's no distractions, because it can be very off-putting and very embarrassing if your phone starts going off, you'll get loads of texts, because you're going to want to look at it, you're going to want to answer it, and it's not ideal. Or even worse, you get up and you try and find it behind you and you don't know where your phone is and it's going to keep ringing and you're going to have to sit there with your interviewer and pretend like it's not ringing or wait for it to ring out. Either way, it's not good. Okay, so now we want to make sure that we've got some good lighting on us. So we want to make sure that the lighting is face on. So we could do this by having all the lights on or having some lamps in front of us. I would recommend, if you can, to use the window and let the natural light shine through and light you up naturally. But if you don't get much natural light coming through, then you're going to want to use some lamps, because we want to make sure we look like we're doing an interview and not telling some kind of ghost story. Okay, so now that we've got some lighting and we've got our camera set up, we're probably ready to go. But there's still some other things that we need to take care of first. So we want to make sure that we don't blend into our background. So if we are interviewing against a white wall, we don't want to wear a white t-shirt or a white shirt because we're going to end up looking like a ghost. So let's wear something that contrasts that background. So if we're interviewing and we have a nice plain white wall, that means we can add some color into the mix. Now, color's good, but we want to stay away from thin stripes or small patterned details because this can sometimes cause a strobing effect on camera. Our interviewer would ask us if we would like a drink, so we would probably have a tea or a coffee or some water. But in this instance, if you're at home, you're going to have to sort that out yourself. Now, you're going to want to make sure that you've got some water in case your mouth gets dry, but also if you get a difficult question, you can take a sip of that to try and buy yourself some time while you're thinking. Taking a sip of water is something I mentioned in one of my other videos, which talks through answering tough to answer interview questions. Now, if you're doing a presentation that requires you to share your screen, for God's sake, make sure you close all your tabs and applications on your laptop and make sure that you don't have anything weird in the background. Because the last thing that you'd want is for your interviewer to be able to see on your screen that you've been Googling Gordon Ramsay memes, because this potentially won't portray you in the best light or the most professional. Now I'm going to let you into a secret weapon, which is something that you definitely wouldn't have been able to do in face-to-face interviews in the past, but now you can with video interviews. So what I would do is get some sticky notes like this, and I would put them all around my laptop screen, and that means I can still look at the camera and read off my notes. So I might put on there what the company does, or I might put something which I know I find very difficult to answer, and either way I've got some notes to hand and I'm not going to be drawing any attention. Now this isn't something that you can do in a face-to-face interview, because obviously you can't sit there with your notes and look down and read what you want to say and somehow not give the game away. But here we can use the sticky notes to give us that edge. Before our interview, we're going to want to make sure that we have tested our audio and tested our camera, because the last thing that we want to do is to turn up to the interview and then waste 10 minutes trying to say, are you there? Are you there? I can't hear you. Now, if we don't have a plain background to carry out our video interview, we can always blur this out on Teams or Zoom. However, we don't want to go changing this background to something strange like the Death Star or the White House or a beach or something, because this is going to only distract the employer and not going to make you look very professional. One last tip would be to make sure that we greet our interviewer with a smile, because this is the closest that we can get to a virtual handshake. If you are interviewing at the moment, I hope this video helps and I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully I will see you soon in the next video.